everybody, Dana here. So it turns out the secret to living longer really isn't that big a secret these days. You hear me talking all the time about women in our 40s, 50s and 60s really needing to address our lean muscle mass. We know over the age of 35 that we start to lose approximately anywhere between 3 to 8% of our lean muscle mass every decade. And what that looks like for us are things like maybe lower back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, also things like weight gain, changing body shape, a feeling of weakness throughout our body, fatigue, lack of energy. It can also mean that we start having problems, gut problems. We start to we're at higher risk of falls. We can become incontinent. All these different things are symptoms that we are losing our lean muscle mass. I want you to think about a conductor. And when the conductor stands out the front, he has all those musicians in front of him playing individual instruments. And it is through his movement that he conducts to each of those musicians how to play their particular instrument, and the whole thing brought together creates the music. Muscle is very much like the conductor. Muscle is the conductor and helps us in regard to our breathing. It helps us in regard to our digestion. It helps us in regard to blood flow through the body. It helps us in regard to just about every function within our body. It helps us to do things like lift different things. So it keeps our body strong. It keeps our joints healthy. It keeps our bones nice and strong. It keeps our pelvic floor tone, our metabolism kicking. It keeps our hormones going into balance and harmony. It gives us energy. It gives us balance. It actually helps us to be able to sit up tall or stand up straight, lift our feet when we're walking around. Who would have thought that muscle has such importance in how we age? But the reality is, it does. There was a study done in Brazil with 839 females, and they found that over this 4-year study that those women that had reduced their lean muscle mass in their arms and legs had a 63-fold increase in mortality. That's huge. For men, it was just over 11-fold. So if you are wondering, well, I really want to get strong, but I'm injured, or I have disease, or I'm older now and I don't know that it's safe. I want you to think about what I call the snowball effect. If you can think of a snowball at the top of a mountain, and as it starts to roll down the mountain, it starts to gather more and more snow. And by the time it hits the bottom of the mountain, it's potentially a boulder. Would you agree with that? Well, depending on how you work with your health and fitness as middle-aged women will determine if your snowball is working for you or against you. Let me explain that a little bit better. If you choose to have unhealthy habits as an aging woman, so you regularly eat the wrong foods and you choose not to exercise in a way to support your lean muscle mass, well, that combination, as you age, because we are aging, your snowball is going to gather more and more snow, but in a negative way. So what can start as, oh, I can feel a little bit more weight around my waistline, or oh, my arms are feeling wobbly and my legs aren't having the strength they once had. That can then snowball into something like diabetes type 2. That can then snowball into having higher risk of heart disease, things like cholesterol, blood pressure. So you can see what started off as a thickened waistline actually snowballed into heart disease, cholesterol, blood pressure, and diabetes. All those things can obviously lead to death. Let's have another scenario. Let's say that as an older woman, you just decided not to exercise. Oh, I'm older, I can't be bothered, and I'll just age naturally. And you'll start to feel like you're just not as strong as you once were. So you can just feel that your strength is starting to reduce. So that may come in the form of, I'm not lifting my feet as well when I'm walking around the street. I can't get out of my chair as easily as I once did. When I get out of the car, if the seat's low, I've really got to hold on to something to get up. It could be when I'm crossing the crossing, I'm noticing that that amber flashing light seems to come up a lot quicker these days. All those things are an indication that you're losing your lean muscle mass. So as your snowball starts to go down the mountain, that can then become that you become weaker to the point that you end up with a disease called sarcopenia. You could also have it spiral down into osteoporosis, brittle bones. You could also have this spiral down into falling because you no longer have the balance or the muscle strength to stop you from falling. All these things can lead to nursing homes, dependency, and or even death. If, on the other hand, you chose to take the step now, you chose to, yes, I'm injured, yes, I've got disease, however, I will ensure that I have a safe, effective, result-driven program, well, your snowball is going to look a lot different. You are starting to gather snow in a positive way. So you're starting with weaker muscles, and as you start to age, you start to feel stronger. You start to have more energy. You start to have more vitality. You start to find that your bones are still strong. You're still continent. You find that you don't have problem with putting on weight. And that's because you started your snowball in a positive, healthy way at this time in our life. So I leave that with you in an idea of now is the time. Now, as middle-aged women, prevention is better than cure, and it is our responsibility to take that step. Nobody can do it for us, and once it becomes too late, you've got disease, you've got injuries, you sit there and wish, I wish I had done something about it. So I'll leave that with you. If you are not on my newsletter, make sure that you get on my newsletter, www.danaeden.com.au/newsletter, and you'll be kept up to date with all our latest challenges, all our latest information, and everything going on with our Live Longer Online Health Club. Okay, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.